welcome to our viewers. Welcome to our Dharma Talk series, Youth Turning Toward the Buddha. And today, our program is immensely honored to welcome the presence of the Venerable Thich Dao Thinh, the abbot of Kai Nguyen Pagoda. I respectfully greet you, Master.
Greetings to all our beloved viewers. Amitabha Buddha.
Dear Master, I am a student who has recently joined the Loving Kindness Club. In the activities of visiting the pagoda and practicing the Dharma there, I have heard the venerable monks teach many times that practicing vegetarianism has lots of benefits. I myself have also taken a vow to adopt a vegetarian diet. But sometimes in daily life, I unintentionally forget that today is a day I must observe my vegetarian practice. And so I end up mistakenly eating meat. I don't know that having made such a vow, carelessly eating meat would be a transgression or not. I sincerely ask for your guidance, Master, on how to properly maintain a vegetarian diet in a way that best fulfills our vow. Amitabha Buddha.
For Buddhist practitioners, especially for young people like you, who are in their student years, and have made a vow to study and practice the Dharma, and especially to take a vow of vegetarianism. Firstly, to protect your own health. And secondly, out of compassion and sympathy for the lives of all sentient beings. To take this vow as the Buddha taught is indeed commendable. However, in daily life, since you are still young, the Buddha did not mandate that the lay Buddhist practitioners must be completely vegetarian. Meaning, only by being a lifelong vegetarian can one approach the Dharma, study the teachings, and become a disciple of the Buddha. Then this matter of vegetarian practice, especially lifelong vegetarianism, depends on the conditions, circumstances, and health of each individual practitioner, particularly for young people like yourselves. Therefore, in the sutras, the Buddha taught lay practitioners that he encouraged practitioners to vow to be vegetarian for 2 days a month, or 6 days a month, or 10 days a month, as mentioned in the Ksitigarbha Sutra. Meaning practice vegetarianism on those specific dates within the month. If you are able to take the vow of lifelong vegetarianism, then that is truly very precious. However, sometimes in daily life, due to work, social events with relatives and friends, family feasts and gatherings, and so on, you might forget that day is a vegetarian day and end up eating meat. Then I believe that this act is not a grave fault. It is something that can be repented, because you are lay practitioners studying the Dharma, especially those who are young. To be able to practice vegetarianism for 2 days, 6 days, or 10 days a month is already very precious. For those who vow to follow lifelong vegetarianism, if during the course of work, family, or social obligations, we forget, or for some unavoidable reason, we have to eat a non-vegetarian meal, then I believe even the Buddha would not be overly strict about that matter. We also should not be too weighed down by that issue. Therefore, the essence of cultivation lies in the mind. We must attain inner freedom and liberation, without clinging to worldly phenomena, nor be attached to those overly strict rules and teachings, especially for young people like you. As for the venerable monks, it is a different matter. But for lay practitioners, the Buddha did not mandate that they be strictly vegetarian in order to study the Dharma. Therefore, everything arises from a heart of compassion and equanimity with love and respect for the lives of all sentient beings, and thus we make vows. We also cultivate our virtuous conduct and spiritual strength, as well as nurture our Bodhi mind within. For us, a vow of lifelong vegetarianism is very precious. However, from my perspective, if in the process of practicing our lifelong vegetarian vow, we unintentionally eat a non-vegetarian meal due to some unavoidable reasons, I believe it is something we can't always foresee. You should not be too weighed down by it. Therefore, in Buddhism, there is a precept against attachment to rites and rituals. If we rigidly cling to the precepts, being too attached, it will give rise to afflictions in the mind, and then give rise to suffering, anxiety, and sorrow. Such a person is not truly a genuine Buddhist practitioner. The most essential thing for a Buddhist practitioner is to be able to transform one's own karma, to transform from a mind of afflictions into the Bodhi mind of peace and joy, to transform suffering into serenity and liberation. Only then is one truly a person who studies the Dharma in a thorough and accomplished way. One who practices like that is called a genuine practitioner. If we cling rigidly and tie ourselves in knots with suffering and affliction, we will not truly be a Buddhist practitioner. Therefore, from my perspective, you can certainly repent. When having taken a vow of lifelong vegetarianism, you unintentionally or for some unavoidable reason break it. For example, when your family holds ceremonies or celebrations, and somebody insists that you eat, you may take just a little bit to make everyone happy. I believe that is acceptable because you are lay practitioners, especially the young like yourselves. As for the venerable monks, it is a different matter. The practice of vegetarianism is also just one aspect, one virtue of a practitioner, the most important thing for practitioners, especially for young people like you at this stage. I believe that is your education. You must pay attention to study well. What you learn must then be applied to your daily life. At the pagoda, it is called cultivation. For you, it is called worldly education, beyond your studies in the classroom. You must also learn how to conduct yourselves with others, to prepare the provisions for your journey, so that later, when you step out into the world, you will not be bewildered by life. Sometimes, what we learn in the classroom is mostly theoretical. Therefore, you must seek to be close to those who possess wisdom. Virtue and experience in life, so that they may guide and instruct you through real-life experiences. All of you must take the knowledge you have learned in the classroom and apply it to practical situations in society, to improve yourself step by step. Then later, when you graduate, you will have profound and practical experience in society. And you will not be bewildered once you apply it to life. Another point is, for you all, it doesn't just stop at the practice of vegetarianism. But what's more important is your cultivation. In such a way that your parents and loved ones can see that they're beloved children. Since knowing Buddhism, since starting to go to the pagoda, since applying the Buddha's teachings in their lives, their children have become more obedient, more studious and respectful. To their parents, more courteous and filial, more harmonious with siblings. This is what truly matters. It is very practical in our daily lives. And I believe that young people like you should aspire to this. You must truly live by applying the Buddha's teachings into your lives. If we can do that, we will see happiness not only in the Western Pure Land of the 10 directions of all Buddhas, but also in this life, in this Saha world. And right at this moment, in the reality we are living, not only do we bring practical benefits to ourselves, but we also make our parents, loved ones, teachers feel happy and proud. My perspective on a practitioner of the Dharma, especially for young people like you, is that your practice should not stop merely at vegetarianism. You must also take the teachings of the Buddha and apply them to your daily life. You should take what you have learned in school and put it into practice, applying it to your real life, so that later, when you graduate, you will not be bewildered. This is a matter that I believe cannot be overlooked, in addition to the practice of vegetarianism, for the youth who follow the Dharma.
Dear Master, through your guidance, I have gained a deeper understanding of the benefits of vegetarianism, and I know that I must cultivate more diligently and strengthen my resolve even more, so that my vegetarian practice can be fully realized as I have vowed. I am profoundly grateful for your merits, Master.
Namo Amitabha.
To our dear viewers, this episode of our Dharma Talk series, Youth Turning Toward the Buddha, now comes to a close. For people following our program, you may send your questions to our email address below, so that the Venerable Monks may provide answers during your course of practice. Respectfully farewell and see you again.